Today's topic, why people respect alphas. I am your host. Now, the term alpha, especially in regards to alpha males, is a very popular term, and many men, especially men, want to become alphas. They wish and dream to become alphas. Becoming an alpha male is the ultimate pinnacle of success for the human male to many men. Okay? The question is why? Why does the alpha get so much respect? While there is no universal agreement on what it means to be an alpha male or female, there is generally a universal respect and admiration for those who qualify. Though many cultures encourage individuals to behave in a less alpha way, such as being kind, putting others first, and being a team player, society often rewards and respects the alpha person over the so-called beta person. Okay? The so-called beta person is usually defined as the person who follows the crowd and tries to fit in. Nobody admires this kind of person, but everybody loves them. Okay? Because they're harmless. Western culture creates a very contradictory situation. Kids are raised to believe one way, but society rewards people who behave another way. This is also shown in the media through books, TV, and movies where the heroes are those with the alpha traits. Those heroes are also the ones the audience loves, respects, and admires most compared to the sidekicks and the so-called beta characters and so-called supporting characters. Okay? What exactly does it mean to be an alpha? Well, since perception plays a major role in who is considered an alpha among others, the best way to define it would be looking for commonality among the majority of so-called alphas in the world or in pop culture. Most people think of alphas as leaders. Okay, you can read about. Most people think of alphas as leaders. If most people agree that leaders are alphas, then exploring the psychology of a leader is the best way to truly understand what it means to be an alpha. What is going on inside of a leader's head? What is going on inside is not a leader's head that is not going on inside a follower's head, for instance? That is the question to ask. Now, one of the most defining traits of a true leader is lacking the fear of rejection. But what makes someone lack a fear of rejection? It usually comes down to either confidence or indifference towards the outcome of a given situation. Telling the two apart is not always possible since both confidence and indifference can show very similar behaviors. Okay? Now, let's dive a little bit into the psychology of indifference. Okay? When somebody is indifferent, they simply have no emotional investment in the outcome of a situation. As a result, no one can really sway them or manipulate them into any kind of action since they don't care what happens to begin with. Okay. Now let's dive into the psychology of confidence, which is a little bit more complicated. When somebody is confident, they simply have a positive outlook on their ability to get what they want or a positive outlook on present and future events. Okay. Somebody who is confident that they'll become a famous actor will believe their probability of success is high, if not certain. Okay. What makes confidence interesting is it can have different levels of sustainability depending on the source. When the source of a person's confidence is external, their confidence is at a higher risk of being lost down the road. Okay. External confidence includes the opinions of others and changeable factors like physical abilities, age, financial situation, and career situation. If your confidence is based on those factors, it can be easily lost if your situation changes later. Okay. Now, internal confidence is almost unbreakable because it is based mainly on mindset and wisdom. Okay? The person with internal confidence gets their confidence from their understanding of themselves and the world. Now, they are the people who know who they are, what they want, and how the external world functions. These factors have a much stronger foundation because they are usually slow to change if they change at all. Okay? Therefore, someone with this type of confidence will remain confident regardless of their social, financial, or physical situation. This type of person is basically unbreakable and cannot be manipulated or controlled by the opinions or desires of others. One could argue this is true. One could argue this is the true definition of alpha. Okay. Now, another important question to ask is, are all leaders alphas? Ultimately, we have to question if being a leader and being an alpha are truly one in the same. Many leaders are followers of others, for instance. Being a follower of others should not be confused with being inspired by others. An inspired person takes the wisdom from another and applies it to their own life goals. However, a follower, on the other hand, tries to copy others without bringing much of their own originality or critical thinking to the table. Okay? Now, a good example of a leader who is also a follower is anybody in middle management at any corporation, for instance. This middle management is not true leadership. They are basically a white-collar police officer enforcing rules put in place by the real leadership. Okay. Are these people true leaders? Can they be considered alphas? It all depends on their level of true influence and decision making. Now, are they just taking orders and enforcing rules, or do they actually provide unique solutions and direction? That is the question. Those are the questions to ask. Okay. There are also many people who live freely and independently through their own labor, assets, investments, and capital. However, they might choose not to be leaders of others and go the path of the lone wolf. Can someone who does not lead others still be considered an alpha? Okay. It would seem that alpha status is based on a mix of a person's psychology and their level of worldly success and influence. Regardless of psychology, an unsuccessful person is never viewed as an alpha. Yet, at the same time, many successful people cannot maintain their success and might have very weak psychology. Thus, they enjoy a very short-lived alpha status. And this begs the question if they were ever truly an alpha at all. Okay. So many so-called alpha people experience a rise and a fall. They are alpha for a period of time, and something comes along to challenge them or break them. It would seem the purest definition of an alpha would be the person's level of personal freedom. The more a person has to submit to the will and standards of others, the less alpha status that person has. The higher the level of personal freedom a person has, the more alpha status they have. Okay? Now, in the end, the purest definition of an alpha can be boiled down to someone who is independent and self-reliant. To be independent and self-reliant, a person needs a certain amount of strength, power, money, or influence in the world to grant them this independence. Since these traits can be difficult or time-consuming to acquire, there is a natural level of respect and admiration given to those who manage to acquire it. Okay. Now, true alphas have inner strength and purpose driving them. They have an unbreakable self-respect that keeps them from changing at the whims of social or societal pressures and preferences. This quality comes from their internal knowledge of self and the world. Thus, the true alpha is wise, and wise people make the best decisions. This is why wisdom rules the world. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment below. Cheers.
You were saying she had a nice ass.
I was trying to say something positive because she's your friend.